Hello everyone, it's Leon and
Louise.
Louise, who I've got in because unlike many of us, she has actually seen Far Cry 3 in action. And did you actually play it? Or did
Yep,
you...
I played the first 3 hours.
Fantastic. What did you think of it, like overall?
It was such a surprise. Like I really liked. I mean, I liked Far Cry 2, but playing through this, just from the moment it started, it felt like such a huge surprise and such a huge level up from even just the fact that the environments are so bright and amazing. It's really cinematic, and it was a real surprise.
Does it work? I mean, it looks... I love the colour. I love the fact that it is slightly stylised and it's very sort of rich in the colours. Does that work when you're actually playing it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're walking through and it feels like you're genuinely on this lovely beach holiday, this lovely beach adventure. And when I spoke to the developers about it, they really said that they wanted to keep this contrast between you've got this horrible environment that you're really going through, where people are going to slaughter you and there's animals that are going to get you, but it looks beautiful. It's a total holiday from hell, and yeah, the blue skies.
So what's the actual combat like? So we're obviously looking at the screen here. They've shown off a lot of this kind of open areas where they do stealth for a bit and then they go loud, and does it feel like it's going to deliver on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I played a couple of the missions where you take over outposts, and where basically the rebels are there in these outposts, and the stealth stuff was really nice because Jason has a camera that if you're sneaking around behind,
I've seen
you
this,
can bring
yes.
up, you can bring up the camera, and if you look at them through the camera and focus on them, then a skull appears above their head. That's your enemies, and even if they go behind a barrier, then
Yeah,
you
you
can
tag
still
them,
see
don't you? Yeah.
So that's a nice stealth point because it means that you always know where everyone is. But then even when you're going from stealth, you can go up behind people, stab people with a machete, but then at the same time you can bring them out into open combat. Guns, dogs, guns, everything, explosions. It turns instantly into an action movie, and it feels really responsive and good.
Cool. Did you have much dealing with Vaz? I mean, he's very prevalent in the trailers, but he's also, I've seen like TV screens and stuff. How present is he in the bits you played?
He is initially. You meet Vaz. It's a sort of an introduction to him. But he always feels like a presence that's really there. He's always in the game, whether you see him or not. You know that he's lurking somewhere in the jungle because all the enemies that you meet are talking about him. He's infamous rather than famous.
Yeah.
From what I played, he definitely has a bone to pick with Jason from the start.
Cool. What else can we talk about? So you mentioned, I asked you about this earlier. So this guy,
Dr. Earnhardt.
Yeah.
So you meet him quite early on in the game, and he asks you to go and find a specific mushroom in a cave.
which I'm guessing is this
yes,
thing here.
This one here. He sends you out to get that, but it seems that he's very good at obviously making different types of pills and drugs, but he also, by the looks of him and by the sounds of him, takes a lot of them himself.
We've got, let's see if I can find it quickly. We've got a shot of there we go. So these sort of pills. Now, so what sort? Do we know what they do?
We don't know what they. I mean, certainly initially, we don't know what they do. In order to save one of Jason's friends, he's sent to go and get a specific mushroom from a cave.
Yeah.
But we don't find out entirely what all of those do from the first 3 years that I played.
But it does look. I mean, these look like they're sort of there to be used.
Yes, I can imagine that there will be different effects of. Certainly initially, even though he's not taking anything, when you're in the caves, he goes through a sort of period of hallucination where he ends up chasing a greenhouse in the caves. So there's definitely an element of drug abuse lurking everywhere, but I didn't have experience with it with the different.
So there's talk in the latest trailer as well about this idea of him transforming himself. So obviously using things like this to sort of mess
up with his
psyche, mind. Yeah.
Certainly the tattoo that he's building up on his arm, we don't know the ink that's in that. So I think you're building that up via skill points.
Because it changes, and depending on if you play stealthily or action, you get different tattoos. So your arm actually your sleeve ends up showing you your play style. Yeah, it
ends up entirely unique because you've chosen to level up. There's animal levels that you get. So you've got stealth as a spider, I think. Then there's heron for sort of long distance combat. So they're called different things, and you can upgrade in each of those, and then you watch it go onto your arm. But we don't know what kind of drugs are in the ink either.
Right.
So I think even before taking anything externally, he's really wandering through.
I love that as a levelling up sort of system. I think that's a really nice idea. Zip lines. Yeah, did you get in the
zip lines?
Do they work? Because I sort of imagine every time I've seen a zip line in a kind of first person game, and even watching this in the trailer, you sort of imagine there's no way I'm going to be able to shoot anything as I fly down this thing.
I didn't get to shoot anyone as we're going off. You reach radio towers which are scattered across the island. And
do they unlock the map? What do they?
Yes. So they're much like Assassin's Creed in that way, where once you've got to the top of a radio tower, you intercept it, and there's this nice big panning cinematic shot of the rest of the island sort of
Right,
appearing.
yeah, like synchronizing it.
Yeah, so you've got sort of missions and things appear that way, and you always zip line off that.
Cool.
But I sadly didn't do any zip lining and shooting at the same time.
Did you see any animals? Because we'll see some more stuff in a minute. But I've seen one of the. You interviewed. Sorry, I used your interview.
Yes.
The man saying that you will get animals will just jump out and attack
Yep.
people. You get these random sort of events. Did you see much of that sort of stuff happening?
I was at one point. I was just getting to the bottom of a radio tower and heard a hiss, and I'd stood in a snake, and that was the first kind of effect where I think, oh right, it can get me. So I shot the snake, Then
Obviously,
you shoot the snake. You don't just leave it behind. And that was the first sort of hint of nature's out to get you.
Yeah.
Nature's this island is nasty. And as you progressed, I didn't see any big cats, but there were big boars they weren't entirely hospitable as you went through the long grass, and that happens a lot where you're going through long grass and you can maybe hear the animals, they can hear you. If you're sneaking, if you shoot, then there's either a chance of some rebels that are passing that are going to hear you, or there's actual animals that are going to hear you as well.
Do you get the skin and stuff? Is that for upgrading equipment or?
Yeah, it's for making equipment. So
right.
When I hunted boar, it made my rucksack bigger, so
Gotcha,
you could hold more, but then you can also upgrade your wallet, and I think I met a Komodo dragon at one point and made a very nice grenade pouch.
Yes, you do.
So when you find them, you take the skin and then you use these recipes to try and build up bigger.
Yeah.
That
must have been a great meeting to be in, like Komodo dragon, grenades, definitely
yeah.
grenades. Yeah.
They were also talking about things with the shark as well, which was the other
With the shark, yeah, we'll get to the shark in a moment. I mean, that's supposed to be the almost like sort of the king kind of thing. They kind of imply it's the hardest one to get.
Yeah.
Do you play games?
Yes, there are mini games scattered around that you can play. I sadly didn't get into that. I was too busy trying to get through as much of the story as possible.
Yeah.
But I know there's plenty of games that you can sit down and play. Also, just looking at the cards there, there's so many things across the island that you can just find that are just entirely random. I picked up a card that had a dwarf with a can of Coke just on it, and it was just there was just a random history that's associated with the island. So it's like there's been lots of people there. You're not sure where they are now, but there's bits and pieces of humanity scattered around.
That filling in the backstory.
Yeah, it's
nice.
really quite rich.
Some more wildlife. Did you get any more vehicles?
Yes, I jumped onto a quad bike and was instantly given a sort of delivery mission. So where I had to follow purple flares to a sort of drop off, where you can then sort of you'll just find yourself wandering through. You'll find something, you'll jump into a bike, into a car, and you'll be on another mission, and you'll be distracted from what you were doing in the first place. It's very much you can dip in and out of the different parts of the world.
I like that. I think that's what makes in the past made games like Oblivion, and to a lesser extent when it worked Skyrim. Because you go, I'm just going to go here, do this thing, and along the way you end up picking up stuff. So it takes weeks to finish the one thing you meant to do because you keep falling into other stuff.
Another cool thing with the vehicles was there was a couple of the rebels driving on the beach, and I managed to shoot them out of their cars, and I jumped into their car, and they've got sort of music that they're playing, so that just adds another edge of what kind of world you're in. They were listening to this sort of mental dance music that who knows where they'd been coming from, but I was now in their car looking at everything, so it's a really rich experience. It's constantly surprising.
Lovely. We saw these earlier, the mushrooms. And what's his name? This Dr.
Earnhardt.
Earnhardt, yeah. He looks. This is the later screen from the one before, and he looks significantly more kind of whacked
he's
out.
He's already pretty spaced.
Yeah.
But I think he gets worse.
I've forgotten his name.
That's Citra.
Citra, that's it. Yes. Who was the infamous kind of naughty bit at E3 where you, like first person jiggy.
Yes.
But yeah, Vaz's sister. So which makes me wonder, because everyone's sort of suggesting that Vaz is kind of you in a Fight Club kind of way, which then obviously makes that a bit of a strange relationship. But yeah, she's training you up to be a warrior. Or she's sort of guiding you along the path.
I mean, from where I played, I didn't actually get to meet her, but I know that when you've built yourself into the tribe more, she will obviously come in and say, "Hey, you can beat this," because there is this civil war going on, and she wants a warrior. She wants someone to overthrow, whether Vaz is real or imaginary. It'll be very interesting to see if he is actually in a Fight Club way. It'll see the way the story will twist.
Yeah,
it seems that he's very much a physical manifestation of Satan.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd almost be disappointed if it did turn out to be Fight Club, just because we sort of feel like we've seen that. Yes. Now, who's this guy?
This is Dennis.
Is he a good man? It doesn't look too.
He is a good man. He is the first person you meet in the good camp, essentially the village.
Yeah.
He'll hand over weaponry and helps you out, and he's the one that tattoos you initially. You wake up with him tattooing you. So
why is he doing this to you now?
I'm not entirely sure. Hang on.
He seems to be threatening.
This can't be the moment you wake up, because he definitely didn't start with a knife. So who knows?
So let's guess. I'm guessing it's a strained relationship.
It's a strange
let's say
relationship.
yes.
Yeah, it was initially peaceful, but who knows how it's moved on.
No, I think this guy's Mike. I think he's an Australian guy. He's basically almost like kind of train spotting Bigby kind of madman. He's genuinely a bit more scary than Vass from what I've seen. But you didn't see him in it, yeah.
I didn't meet him, but it does seem that the island is progressively becoming more insane.
He has a great line about how something about who the animals are or something. Or who the savages are or something. He has a really nice line that kind of encapsulates, like I said, the craziness of the island and the fact that you're sort of fighting all these people. The shark. So the shark is like sort of the king thing to hunt down, and also has my favourite screenshot ever, which is shark punching.
We like that.
That's incredible. Did you see any sharks?
I did. I saw them at the last possible minute while I was trying to get into a cave. There was sharks circling in the water, and it's one of those things, you think I'll just paddle into the water, that'll be fine, I want to go this way, and then you see the shapes circling in the deep. I'm guessing
if you're standing up here with a machine gun, you're probably it's gonna be quite easy, but I'm guessing that they'll try and stop.
I think there are ways that the sharks will get you. I certainly think later on in the game there'll be much more essential needs to go into the water, and there's going to be more nasties in there.
I've only just noticed as well that it's not strictly correct, because sharks have multiple rows of teeth, always growing forwards. Anyway, shark punching. I almost sort of want to play the game just to be able to punch a shark.
Well, the fact is, even from early on in the game, you don't have to follow the story in the slightest.
Yeah.
You just keep going along, unlocking radio towers, hunting wildlife, heading into the water and punching sharks. It could be one of the first things you do. It's kind of nice. It's open, really open.
I'm up for that. As a heavy character, I don't know if you encounter them at all. I'm generally against heavies just because they are a pain in the ass. Yep. But so heavy character, normal thing, visor. I'm guessing he maybe either has a weak spot or has to soak up 1,000,000 bullets. Yep. Another character with a flamethrower. The flamethrower actually looks pretty good. Did you get any time with that?
I didn't get any time with the flamethrower, but the fire is really... I ended up trying to hide from someone. I was hiding next to a barrel, ended up setting myself on fire.
Because they brought the fire propagation... That was Far Cry 2's big thing, wasn't it? If you started a fire, the wind would propagate it and it would spread. And they've kept that in. Yeah,
but much less. I think the thing about Far Cry 2, there were so many mechanics that you kind of forget we're there now. It's like constantly having to get out and fix your car, and they're constantly spawning. Yeah. And they're all bits that you don't really think when you're playing through initially, but these are all things that you notice in this. Hey, I'm not having to do any of that. This is nice. It's slightly more game-like. They're less going for horrible realism in the sort of essence of, oh no, fire's going to ruin everything. But certainly I didn't get to play with the flamethrower, but did get sadly set on fire, which revealed my position. Right.
There's a good fire-based mode in the multiplayer, because I played a bit in the multiplayer, where you have two teams, each have like a couple of like ammo dumps, and you have to set fire. You basically have to get both the enemy's ammo dumps on fire. Then when that happens, there's a radio you have to fight over, and if you set them on fire and you call the radio in, use the radio, it calls in a plane, drops petrol on everyone.
Right, okay.
If they get the radio and call help, then it brings in like a firefighting plane, puts out the fire, and it all resets. So you're always constantly having to push and pull and try and get get them on fire or put your fire out. So they make use of it quite well in the multiplayer. More wildlife, the bear. Yeah, this looks like a new faction as well. Do we know much about how many people there are? Because they seem to be wearing
they're wearing quite unique. So it tends to be that your people you're fighting, it tends to be wearing red. They do tend to indicate them with red. So whether this is a different sect of Raz's people or just a different kind of enemy, I suppose. That they're brought in. But the guys, when they were talking about the wildlife, they were very surprised with what happened in the world, because they put in the wildlife, they put in the people, and it comes up with all these situations that even they didn't expect. Yeah. So they said they saw people, the rebels fighting, and then it would get too noisy and a tiger would come out of the bush and then eat them, and you didn't even need to do anything with that. It just happens because it's how they've programmed it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm looking forward to that sort of thing. And you said this is from the beginning.
Yeah, because initially you'll get a lovely found footage montage of their holiday.
Yeah.
So as they're sort of plummeting out of planes and having general 20-something fun before you land, it's very much the start of a horror movie, the kind of thing that you get of, look, fun.
And these are all his friends, aren't they? So the friends get kidnapped at the beginning, and that's sort of your motivation, is to rescue them. That's your motivation
for the whole game, yeah. You've got your friends and your brother there as well, and you wake up, and I can't really say anything else, but you wake up and you're going to need to find them.
Cool. Brilliant. All right. Thank you very much. If you guys want to leave a comment at all, we'll put a link up to stuff on the site. Speak to you guys later.